What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with my Week 3 wide receiver rankings. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Post my rankings every week, fantasy takeaways, waiver wire stuff, as well as buy low, sell high, trade stuff. So all the stuff you need to win your fantasy football title. So hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. And if you have any questions or comments, any start sit things, answer them in the comment section down below. Let's hop into this. This is half point PPR. As always, don't need to talk a ton about these guys at the top. Justin Jefferson, great matchup for him against the Chargers. Tyreek Hill, unstoppable, playing Denver. Stefon Diggs against Washington, a great matchup. For first guy, I think we should talk about a little bit. Puka Nucua against Cincinnati. The kind of target volume that he is getting currently with Kupp out, had 20 targets last week, 50 receptions. I'm not afraid of any matchup, and I'm starting him pretty much everywhere with that type of target volume as a top 10 play until Kupp returns. After that, I see him more as a wide receiver 2. Number 4, Deebo Samuel should have an awesome day against the Giants. I don't expect Brandon Ayuk to play in that game. 6, Jamar Chase against the Rams. This might seem low for Jamar Chase, and honestly, it's a little tough to put him even this far down, but I'm a little concerned about Joe Burrow with that calf injury that he re-aggravated for this upcoming matchup. Kind of want to see how it goes. You'll see I've kind of faded some of their other pass-catching options as well. Number 7, Davante Adams against Pittsburgh. Good matchup for him, solid matchup at least, and he receives a ton of targets, great route runner. A.J. Brown, I think the squeaky wheel is going to get some oil this week. He's been talking about getting the ball against Tampa. I think they'll give him the ball early and often. I think he'll have a monster day. Calvin Ridley, good matchup for him against Houston. Obviously, the numbers don't suggest that, maybe because of the game script, but I think he can catch a touchdown in the first half and still have a good day for fantasy. Number 10, CeeDee Lamb against Arizona. I think this is a good matchup for him. I still don't know how much he'll be utilized in the second half of that football game. 11, Jalen Waddle, another guy I'm ready to start up against Denver. Not really scared away in that tough matchup because of how lethal both Waddle and Hill are, and especially the speed component both of them add. 12, Keenan Allen against Minnesota. He's been targeted a lot so far, and that's a good matchup. That should be a shootout, very high over-under. Devonta Smith, basically been even with A.J. Brown for a big chunk of the time since they've both been there. Good matchup for him as well in Tampa. But like I said, I think A.J. Brown will get more targets this week. 14, Mike Evans against Philly. He's been on a tear. Philly struggled to stop the pass. 15, Chris Olave against Green Bay. He's down a little farther than he normally is. That's just because I think he'll draw Jair Alexander for most of the game, but he's still good enough you're playing him. 16, Michael Pittman Jr. against Baltimore. He's been getting targets. Even if Minshew plays, I still am fine firing up Michael Pittman. Don't think that downgrades him at all. 17, Amari Cooper, great matchup for him against Tennessee. Hopefully Watson can look good throwing the ball. Even if he doesn't, though, Cooper almost had 100 yards last week with a bad groin. 18, Mike Williams, great matchup for him against Minnesota. Waiting for that huge explosion game for Mike Williams. Those targets came last week. George Pickens, getting a ton of targets is a good matchup for him against Vegas. Just such an explosive player. I see him getting double-digit targets most of the weeks moving forward. He might not catch all of them or a big chunk of them even, but he has the ability to get those deep down the field targets. He's dangerous with the ball in his hands. I like Pickens a lot with Deontay Johnson on IR. DK Metcalf I have at 20. Honestly, seems a little bit low for him. I just like a lot of these other guys and their matchups they've got, but DK Metcalf you're definitely playing. 21, Christian Watson. Assuming he returns, you're plugging him into your lineups. I think he's going to be an absolute stud, and Jordan Love has looked encouraging so far to start the season. 22, Nico Collins. Been getting a ton of targets, and they'll need to score in this Jacksonville matchup. Fire him up. I view him as a wide receiver 2, maybe even a higher end wide receiver 2 than where I have him ranked this week moving forward for the rest of the season. 23, Tyler Lockett against Carolina. Shined last week. I think he's just going to continue to produce for the rest of the season. 24, DJ Moore against Kansas City. Just think they'll have to throw the ball a ton in this one, and he is the dude there. 25, we have T. Higgins against the Rams. This is what I was saying. Obviously, I am fading these guys. Higgins had a great contest last week. I'm just a little scared about this calf injury. Honestly, I think normally this would be a fire. I still think you're playing these guys. I think you're just a little bit hesitant and just take down your expectations a tad. But I still think you can play T. Higgins in this matchup. I'd be more worried if it was a tougher matchup, but you can play Higgins against the Rams. 26, Chris Godwin against Philly. Just hasn't had a great day so far, but this Philly matchup he should be able to. 27, DeAndre Hopkins against Cleveland. I think his targets will get back to what we normally expect them to be in this matchup. Garrett Wilson against New England. I think he is the option they're going to try to take out of the game. I view Garrett Wilson as a wide receiver 2 rest of the season. I think he'll be, what we saw him do the second half of last year. I think that's what his production will be pretty much like for the rest of this season. Moving on, I've got Gabe Davis, 29. I think people are fading Gabe Davis too hard. He was playing that high ankle sprain last year, so it's good so far to start the year. He's getting targets, plays Washington. I think you're playing Gabe Davis in a good matchup with Josh Allen. 30, Jacoby Myers against Pittsburgh was heavily targeted last time we saw him. I think he'll play. 31, Marquise Brown against Dallas. A lot of passing attempts in the second half of this contest. 32, Terry McLaurin against Buffalo. I just hasn't really seen Terry be himself yet, waiting for that game. He's been a little banged up. 33, Tutu Atwell against Cincinnati. Another guy who's been receiving a good amount of targets. You can play him. 34, Jordan Ass against the Chargers. Great matchup for him. He's been more and more involved and looks good. 35, Drake London against Detroit. If they are going to pass, it's most likely going to be to Drake London or Bijan Robinson. I think Drake London in a high-scoring game is a decent option. Michael Thomas against Green Bay, especially if Jair Alexander is giving Chris Olave some trouble. I think Michael Thomas could have a decent week. All right, if you guys made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.